Hey everybody, how y'all doing? It's Dave Juno, the Meniere's Disease Warrior. And yeah, I know a lot of these somebody's gonna say, oh great, another update video on his decompression surgery. Well, one of those reasons is because it's important for me to get information out on how I'm feeling, because I know there are people out there that are considering this. Um, and so I want those people to know and everybody else to know how it's working for me. Okay. And so, yeah, I know, you get sick of it after a while, but it's not every day. It's a once a week usually, unless I notice something peculiar. But so it's been 3 weeks. It'll be 3 weeks tomorrow, and I haven't had any vertigo. I haven't felt this good in years. Um, Now I don't, you know, I'm not saying I'm cured. I'm not cured. I would never say that. But to have this type of relief and have it for as long as 3 weeks, I haven't never gone this long in the last 4 or 5 years without it. I was getting attacks a couple times a week and this and that, and now it's 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 nothing. Even like I said when I did my follow up appointment last week, um, the doctor was actually shocked that I said I haven't had vertigo even after, because she said you should have had at least 2 or 3 spins after surgery, and she was like, no. I said, no, nothing. So yeah, I'm on 3 weeks. And the recovery, no vertigo, but the recovery is slow for me. And a lot of it probably has to do because I'm bilateral. Some of it might have to do because I'm diabetic. Um, so who knows why the healing process and it's going a little slower than normal. But I'm taking it because every day I'm getting stronger. Every day I'm noticing something different. Every day seems to be getting a little better. The hearing fluctuates, and it fluctuates during the day. It's not like one day I can hear it, one day I can't. It's like, okay, I woke up this morning, I couldn't hear too well, even with the hearing aids in. But then I brought my kid out, my grandson out to the bus stop, and I coughed, and all of a sudden I could hear. And I was like, okay. And then later in the afternoon, I couldn't hear, and then now I can. So that's frustrating. Is 1 minute you can hear, next minute you can't. 1 minute you can hear, next minute you can't. Um, so that's, yeah, like I said, it's frustrating, but I know it's getting better because it's better than the first week. The first week I couldn't hear anything. The second week it was fluctuating, but it was like I said before, like I wouldn't hear for like had a hard time hearing for like 10 hours, and then it would dissipate, and then for a little while, then it would come back. So it's getting less and less and less, which the doctor said that would do that. Um, but I also got the hole in my ear, so the fluid is coming out. As a matter of fact, a bunch of it just came out before I made the video. And my ear isn't sticking out as much anymore because the swelling's gone down. Still hurts a little bit back here, but it's not too bad. So the ear isn't doing this anymore, which is good because I'm sick and tired of people going looking at my ear like that. Um, what else? Just in general, the tiredness is going away. Um, the recliner in my living room is evil. I mean, it doesn't matter who sits on that thing. I sit on it. My wife sits on it. The grandkids sit on it. My son sits on it. We're out like a light. Boom. Within 20 minutes. So I call it the evil recliner. But as far as like going into the bedroom now and shutting the door and taking a nap, no, that's um, seems to have been slowing down, and a lot of it is because probably my brain isn't um, functioning like it was. I mean, it's not. There's some information now that's easily being transmitted, and it's not working overtime or triple time. Now it's probably working double time. So, because a lot of times people always ask, why do we get tired? That's why, because your brain is working double time, triple time. You're not tired from physical stuff. You're tired because your brain is just going zip, 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 like overworking a computer, computer processor. I've explained that before. And walking's becoming better. The one thing I will say is sometimes I will close my eyes when I'm walking just to see if I'm walking straight. Because sometimes, if I take that out, that eliminates part of the balance function. And I don't do it long. And I used to always go to the left. Even after I had the laparoscopy and I went through all that physical therapy, vestibular therapy, I would always go to the left. Now, I go to the right. So if I'm walking like this, and all of a sudden I'll open my eyes like 30 seconds later, and I'm like on the curb of the street. So, yeah, I'm venturing to the right now. So that's a little different. I like to test myself. But here's the thing. Sitting on support groups and asking questions is great. But you see a lot of people say, "Oh, what can I do for this, and what can I do for that, and what can I take for this, and what can I take for that?" And I'm going to tell you right now, those are good questions. There's nothing wrong with them. But the only way you're going to find out really that's going to work for you is by actually trying it and talking to your doctor. Okay? It's great to ask what people use. It's great to get their opinions. But you got to remember, too, that those people don't know your body. You know your body better than anybody else. Okay? You know what you're going to react to and what you're not going to react to. You know all these things. So take the advice, talk to your doctor about it. And even surgeries. I'm not recommending surgery to people. If you want to have it, that's great. I'm not going to tell you to do it. I can tell you how good it's working out for me. Doesn't mean it's going to work out like that for you, because there are people that, have the same surgery, and sometimes they're even worse, to be honest with you, because it's not an exact science. And that's exactly what I've had 3 doctors tell me, that it's not an exact science. It may not work for you, but I think it's going to work. But I'm pretty sure we're going down the right road. It's things like that. But you got to talk to your doctor, okay? Because you can ask about sac decompression surgery, and you probably get 100 answers, and I can guarantee you 5 or 6 of them are probably going to say it didn't work for me. They're not going to be mean about it, but they're going to say it didn't work for me, okay? But you can have some people that will say it's a lifesaver. It saved their life. It's really helped them. It's the same thing with everything. Gentamicin, I saw a post about gentamicin. I tried that in my left ear. And she said if this surgery didn't work, they were going to try that. And I was like, well, if you do that, it's like performing a laparoscopy. It makes no sense. And she figured, oh, yeah, I forget you had the laparoscopy on that side. But they actually feel confident that it's going to work. I haven't had any vertigo since surgery. But gentamicin, somebody was asking about it in a support group. I really didn't answer it because I figured they were getting a lot of good information. And people were saying it's helped them tremendously. But it didn't do anything for me. I had to have it surgically done with the laparoscopy. Because basically what gentamicin does is what a surgery does. It's a non-surgical laparoscopy, basically. So a lot of people, it helps them, and it stops the vertigo. It didn't for me in my left ear. But like I said, you can ask that question. And there were people on there that said, I wish I didn't do it because now my vertigo is worse. So everybody, you got to take that into consideration. Everybody's different. Okay. But what I can tell you is, so far with this sac decompression surgery, 3 weeks in, I'm doing great and starting to feel a lot better than I have in a long time. And we're going to be going on to the next adventure in 3 weeks when I get my cochlear implant surgery started and get that going. And that's going to be awesome. I can't wait for that. That's going to be so good. I've got such a positive vibe about it that I'm excited. And it was the same thing with the surgery. A lot of people go into surgery like, oh, they're nervous or this and that. I said, I was psyched. I was happy. I was like, thank God. Even when the doctors came in before the surgery to get the IVs and all that stuff, they're like, dude, are you nervous? I'm like, no. They're like, why? I said, I can't wait for this surgery. And they were all like, wow, I've never seen somebody so hyped up for surgery. And I'm like, well, I'm not hyped up for the surgery per general. Like, I don't want to be in pain, but I'm hoping it's going to get me back to a normal life or somewhat normal, because let's face it, the one thing you all got to understand is no matter what surgery you have, there's no cure for Meniere's disease. The tinnitus is still there. The deafness is still there. The hearing loss is still there. It's just a lot taking one symptom away, and that's the vertigo. Because I can live with the tinnitus. I can live with the deafness. The vertigo, it's very, very hard to live with. But it's never going to be perfect. And my balance is never going to be perfect. So, yeah, even though I'm having these surgeries, I asked the doctor, and she's like, you can't go back to work again. I was like, thank you. That was it, And I did mention, I said, gee, I think maybe at some point I could work for a couple more years. She's like, no. Are you crazy? It's, yeah, the vertigo's a check right now, but who knows what's going to happen in the future? You get a vertigo attack. You want to go through that again? No? Okay. So, I want to get that out there because, I did post in one of the group picture, support groups. I've been doing a little fishing this week, staying out a little bit longer, not much. And it's not been really, it's not really been making me that exhausted or tired. So I'm getting better, and I want people to understand that. Okay, so this is, I know it sounds like I'm talking about myself, which I am, but the thing is, if I don't share my information with you people, how am I helping you? I'm not. So that's what I want people to understand. I help by opening myself up and sharing my experiences. And on that note, hey, have a great week and great rest of the week and spin free week. And I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.